Hi there! You're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma, and today we're meeting in the garden and we're going to have our first of the month garden tour. I live on the Oregon coast in a zone 9A in a very temperate climate. We generally get around between 65 and 72 degrees during the summertime, not much higher than that. And we don't get freezing cold weather, so we're always green. We get ice storms on occasion, but we won't have a frost date until early December, and even then that just means it's getting cold at night. It doesn't really mean that we're having like ice or snow. If we get snow, it's usually not till late winter, like end of January to the middle of February. But it's September, so I don't have to worry about that right now. But I will show you how things are going and show you how things are starting to decline. Even though we have a few more weeks left of fair weather. It's cloudy today, and we have a 10-day forecast of cloudy weather, and it's 61 degrees. But things are like just slowing down, and the annuals are showing that they're a little bit tired, so we won't be far in pulling out the annuals, I'm assuming. There's still plenty of time to get some big projects done, but today I just wanted to show you the garden and how it's looking. In the summertime, we divide these garden tours up into parts so they're not extremely long. So this garden tour will be of the front yard, and next week we will do one of the backyard, and in the coming weeks after that it'll be the medicine garden and the lower garden, and then we'll most likely change it up and start doing once a month garden tours, or maybe twice a month rather than every week, because there just won't be as much to look at. All right, let me get turned around and show you what's going on in the front garden in the beginning of September. So here we are, right next to our driveway. This is the front garden. You get a little sneak peek. Spencer and I have been working on mulching, so you'll notice how beautiful this side of the garden looks, and we're working on this side this afternoon. But it's cloudy now, and I wanted to take advantage of the cloudy weather and show you the flowers that are blooming, because they just show off so nicely in the shade, or in this, when it's not super sunny. All right, so to begin with, we have our jasmine that's in full bloom. She is an absolute riot right now, just blooming her head off. She's got some tendrils going up there with blossoms. It smells so good. We have some vinca in this pot because I just haven't decided on where to plant it yet. This is jasmine flower, but it's blooming. Wow, it's so fun. A variegated vinca. Not a whole lot has changed over here, except that the roses are blooming. They also need to be deadheaded, but they're blooming. They're so sweet. I love this little rose bush. She's just a champ. This rose bush was here when we moved in. I put this little trellis so she had something to get supported on, but her roots mostly go underneath the house, which is kind of silly. We still have a table full of plants that need to be planted. Now that it's getting to be fall, I guess it's even more appropriate to plant them if we ever get around to it. I've got some thyme, a flat of thyme there that I picked up discount. And let's go over here. You could really see how beautiful things are looking on this dark mulch. We use a bagged black dyed mulch. It decomposes super fast. We have to do it every year, but until I have the garden exactly how I want it, I don't really want to invest in a different kind of bulkier mulch. or compost mulch. And we're getting really close. Like, I think that other than maybe some art in this space and something to fill in this gap, this bed is now complete. We planted 3 little hostas right here and 1 right there. We moved the walkway so that it just flows a little bit nicer into this hosta oasis. The hostas are on their last legs. Like, this is the end of the season. They are looking a little worse for wear, but we try to leave them up as long as we can so that they can photosynthesize and get plenty of energy for next year's growth. We do have a hellebore right back there. She's already started to bloom, which is just a little wild to me. Like, look at this, little buds and everything. Yeah. So, and then we kept back the Pearly Everlasting. I think we did that a little while ago. And we're just feel like that's all buttoned up for the season. The elderberries will lose their leaves pretty soon. And then the hostas will go away, and this will just be like a really empty looking space with big surprises for spring. All right, let's keep moving along here. We still have these annual containers that are looking pretty decent. You know, they're not as coated in blooms at this point. There's a lot of closed blooms because it's just not getting super hot. And they really do want that sunshine and that heat to pop open. But they're holding on. It's okay. We've got a couple of roses in bloom. We've got this peachy corally one. It's been in bloom for maybe like a week, so it's looking a little tired, but looking really fun. I still have these alliums. I know, I need to get them back. I don't know why I haven't. They just keep escaping me. Then we have this rose, which is also looking a little tired right now. You know, it's the end of the season. Such is life. All of the roses are kind of looking a little tired. Even the climbing rose, although this climbing rose has a bunch of buds way up high. This one could actually get tied up. That'll be fun. That's getting up there. And then we've got the little pink ones in bloom right there. So let's go back around, pop back up here. The daylilies have gone down. We're just waiting for them to sort of photosynthesize in there. But we do have kaffir lilies starting to open up back there. Let me get a little closer for you. Aren't those cute? They're so much fun. And yeah, there's a bunch of buds coming up right there. We do have some hydrangeas blooming. We'll see more on the other side this year. Over here, we've got some dahlias that came up, but they're not blooming. This one got a fairly decent size, but maybe just didn't have enough sun to begin with, because when it was little, it's kind of underneath this Edgeworthia. This one is trying to open. It's just been kind of sitting in this bud form for a little while. The hollyhocks didn't get very tall, but they are so beautiful. These, what are they, like double, triple thick hollyhocks. They're so much fun. And then a couple more dahlias that just didn't do it this year. We are redoing this bed. I recently posted that we pulled up all the irises, and if you were one of the lucky ones that got to watch the iris digging, you probably noticed that the sound was all messed up. Well, I tried to fix it and made it worse. So that video is no longer available, but we did dig up all of our irises. We took out every iris on the property. We've stored them in the garage, and we'll divide them and replant them elsewhere and give away a whole bunch in the spring, because I just wanted something new in the garden. So we dug up all of the gladiolas, all of the lilies, and all of the crocosmia, and all of the irises, and I replanted the lilies all in one big clump in one area of the garden, and the rest of them we are saving till spring, and we will put them in different parts of the garden at that time. So this is the bed that the irises were in. They're gone, and we're going to be doing something new in the spring, but I did leave the Suncredibles in there for now. They've just been blooming for months and months, looking fantastic. It's really fun. Over on this side, we still have Supertunia bubblegum in these two little pots. Still looking pretty good. Again, just not a full coverage of blooms because it's the end of the season. And then up on the porch, those baskets are doing just a little bit better than the ones that are out in the landscape. Maybe they're just, I don't know, they get a little bit more sun. This one's like so hiding behind the eucalyptus. I'm trying to show you. Anyway, these are what are they? The pink hanging baskets are Supertunia bubblegum from Proven Winners, and in the rail baskets are Mini Vista yellows. There is some Superbena cashmere pink in there, but they just did not get as big as the ones that I had in the backyard. We do have some medicinal verbena right there, looking all like airy and beautiful. I love those plants. But we'll talk about what's going on in the medicine garden in another video. I'll just walk back up this way, show you. These are the Supertunia silverberry in this pot, along with some lemon balm and marshmallow. We've got Superbena pink. I think this is just like hot pink or pink. Superbena's in here, and we've got our bay topiary started there. We've got Supertunia vivid orchid in here, and then we've got a leftover Supertunia amethyst, or Superbena amethyst. Ooh, that is looking super sad. This thing overwintered. I didn't expect it to grow. And then we've got some pink or like fuchsia snapdragons and white snapdragons. It's got kind of got this buttery yellow in it that have just overwintered and grown all summer long. And then we have a vermillionaire in the back of this pot that finally got bigger than the snapdragons. I thought that I had lost that vermillionaire, so I bought another one and put it by itself in this pot. This thing has been blooming since April. It's just stunning. Getting bigger, but continuous blooms. I never deadhead it. I just water it, fertilize it, and it's just so happy. As a matter of fact, I don't even think we fertilize it half as much as we fertilize the annuals. This will overwinter in my garden, so we'll get to have 2 of these shrubs next year, which is so fun. Coming around the front here, we do have the Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which got eaten to pieces into little tiny nubs, and it came back looking fresh and beautiful, clean. So that's exciting. We have a perennial cosmos that finally came up. It took forever. I don't even think it's going to have time to bloom, but it came up. And then we have some crocosmia. This is the yellow. There's a yellow variety here, and then there's this other variety that's kind of mixed in. These don't get more than 24 inches. probably move them. This whole front section is all getting changed this winter and spring. But we do have these beautiful Mr. Lincolns. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And I was noticing last night, look, they've got like this fun, like yellow splash deep in the throat. They all look like that. That one's just, yeah, that one's got a little, it's just like these little random white or yellow stripes on it. I don't know why. It's interesting. Then we've got beautiful black-eyed Susans. Look at these. They're just looking fantastic. They're so happy. And we did plant up a couple little mums, just starting to transition into fall here. Love all this yellow business going on in the front. And then we do have the Super Tunia Saffron Finch looking pretty good. This Bluebeard is looking beautiful. This is a discount plant, so I'm super happy with how good that looks. Really nice to have a shrub blooming this time of year. This is one Super Tunia Vista bubblegum in a 16-inch plant. This is 4 feet wide. It is just wild. It really loved this spot. And then we have some Rose of Sharon's blooming. This one is pink with a red throat. Isn't that gorgeous? I think I have a name on this. Do I have a name? Oh, okay. This one is Aphrodite. No, I don't remember that. Beautiful. And then this is the Ivanetti Dahlias. Oh, gosh. Look at this. This is like the size of a softball. Maybe not quite. Really close. It's all the way around. You see that? All the way. Absolutely gorgeous. Just, and I love how it has like this pink iridescence. When you're turning it, it has like these different colors showing up. Really, really fun. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then down here we have another Rose of Sharon, and it has a double white flower. And again, I don't know the name of this one. Do I have a tag? I don't think so. Oh, it's super full down there. See tag. Well, I don't have a tag for that one, but looking gorgeous. Before she goes to sleep, I want to make sure that I get this elderberry in a video because I keep ignoring her in the videos. She has gotten so big this year and so full. It is super exciting. I do want her to be a tree, although they grow kind of as a multi-stemmed shrub. So I will be doing a little bit of limbing up so she's not dragging on the ground so much next year. But I love this elderberry. Okay, so we cut this hydrangea down super hard our last time we trimmed them, so it did not bloom as prolific as it will next year. I did get some nice blooms. They're huge, and you know, these were probably stems from last year, but I had so many very weak stems that I needed to cut it back so that it had a chance to be nice and strong. And you can see, like, I left a old stem in there, and then it grew, you know, 8-10 inches above that. So this thing has gotten quite large in one season. So has this one. This is a barberry like rose splash or something like that. It's so fun. It's got these variegated purple and pink leaves. We do have a Curia japonica here that I will do a little bit of trimming on this winter to make sure that it's just strong and ready for her spring blooms, and same with the flowering quince, but you pretty much just leave those two alone, except to keep shape. We've got our staghorn sumacs here. They are starting to turn. You can see they're bright yellow. They will get really fantastic yellows and oranges. So really looking forward to that. I was noticing, I see it way over there. From my kitchen, I could see some flowers on it. So we'll go try to take a look at that closer on the other side. I have this wonderful leprechaun shrub. It is the best. It needs to be. It's so close to the road. The road's right there. It gets dusty all the time. But it has like this really bright chartreuse green new foliage, and then it colors into this really deep purple, which is such a super fun contrast on one shrub. I just love it. Well, let's keep cruising down here. Let's see if I can find a flower on here. There's like, this one is starting to form her flower. See that? Such a fun little burgundy berry flower thing. Oh, you can see a whole bunch in there. I don't know if it shows up or not, but yeah, it's great. Down here, I've been waiting for this hibiscus to bloom, and it's just taken its sweet time. It has some chlorosis. This is on a fairly steep hill, and it's really hard to keep fertilizer on it and water on it and all the things. And hibiscus actually like to be quite moist, so next year I'm going to have a little bit more of a reservoir and pay a little bit more attention to it. We had a big clump of crocosmia right here that kind of laid over half of this shrub all summer long, which also contributed to some of the chlorosis happening and the fact that it didn't bloom early. That crocosmia got dug up, so this will have a better chance next year. Still hoping. The buds are fairly formed. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, if I shoot it up with some fertilizer, it will actually pop open. Of course, I'll share it with you if that happens. We do have these pumpkin Phophia that bloomed. This is its second flush, but I don't think we're going to get any more after this. It's right at the end. And then we have these bright pink phloxes that have been blooming. Over here we have the pineapple sage that won't start blooming for a couple more weeks. It blooms at the end of September, early October, bright red blooms that the hummingbirds love. But the shrub's looking fantastic. And then we have this purple and Picasso and purple Supertunia right here. It's held its own, but it didn't really get that big. It has definitely been competing with geranium all summer long, so kudos to her for holding her own. And let's just pop up here. Not any like big changes up here, except that we're gonna go and see what the estate garden looks like at the end of the season, because I just don't imagine that they'll still be up and glorious when we do our next one. But before we get there, I should point out all of our asters are in bloom. Isn't that such a fun, bright little patch of asters? Just love it. These are a beach aster. They self-seed all over this garden space. And then this spring, I transplanted the taller asters, which is darker purple. They look a little sad this year because they got transplanted. So they're just like in a little bit of shock. But I imagine next year it's going to be really fun to have the tall, darker purple against the lighter, almost white. These are actually a purple if you get really close to them. Yeah, it's hard to tell. And they've been open for a little while, so they're kind of faded too. And then we've got the Russian sages, which are just barely blooming right now. But again, next year, I think this bed is going to be really fun this time of year. We've got the Pontilla that has been blooming a little bit since we planted it, but it's blooming even more now. So, and this thing I thought it was on its way out when I planted it. I just planted it in good faith, and she's so happy here, so I'm really glad. The Pentasetum finally put on some growth, but not enough to be a big impact over here. Not this year anyway. So my plan is to dig it out and overwinter it in the greenhouse, because I had one planted out here last year that didn't make it. It got just mushy and died. So I'm hoping I could overwinter it to keep that good root system, and then we could plant it out again next year, and maybe we'll actually get a little head start on the growth. Okay, over here in the estate garden, the crocosmia is all done blooming, so we'll be cutting that back here soon. But this is how the Supertunia Vista bubblegum and the Supertunia finches look with some false dandelion. Isn't that lovely? A little sparkle of dandelion in there. Anyway, but it turned out pretty great. We enjoy it because we could see it when we drive down the street. We could see this little garden looking pretty happy. Since we're over here, I just want to talk about this area real quick. We are getting ready to mulch all of this, and then I wanted to see if these have berries yet. I'm not seeing berries, but it does have a little bit of fall color. Maybe next year. But the crabapple does have some berries on it. This has become one of my favorite views, being able to see these Supertunias and the Supertunias and mini vistas in the background there. Really fun. Well, that's gonna do it for today's front yard garden tour. It's been a really fantastic season. There's been more successes than failures, which is really exciting as a gardener. And we have some really fun design plans that we're getting ready to implement, which will just kind of give our garden a whole new refresh for the coming season. Oh, I have one more thing I want to show you before we end the video. But I did want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us all summer long while we gardened and while we, cruised around other nurseries and went to a bunch of different cemeteries, and it's just been a really relaxing and beautiful summer. So I really appreciate that you're tagging along with us and being a part of our YouTube journey. And please let us know in the comments below what kind of videos are your favorite videos that we do, because I definitely, I have a lot of interests and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. It doesn't mean that I will just do anything that you want me to do, but it does mean that you might give me some inspiration to do something fun and different, or if there's something that you'd like to see us do, please let us know in the comments. All right, before we go, I have showed you this basket multiple times this year. It was a basket that was falling apart and I wasn't quite ready to get rid of it. So I lined it with a trash bag, I put soil in it, and I put a bunch of bulbs in it. Well, I knew I put tulips and daffodils in here, and some grape hyacinths, I think. Maybe some cilia, I'm not sure. It was just a big jumble of random bulbs I had. Then we had, see, we're changing things up. So we're just like ready to take this. We were ready to just like take this whole basket away. We had these guys come up and we're like, oh, okay, that's different. We weren't expecting those. Okay, fine. And then they died. And so we were like, okay, let's, you know, we're going to get rid of this basket. Well, this stem started coming up, this big pink fleshy stem. And we're like, well, I guess we'll leave it here and see what happens. Well, she bloomed. And it's just one naked lady. We do not know how she ended up in this basket, except that she may have just been an extra bulb that was just like stuck in a bunch of bulbs that we had in the garage and just didn't pay attention. But she's a really fun surprise. She looks beautiful. So what's going to be interesting is I'm going to pull all the bulbs out of here and mix a couple more bulbs, hoping maybe like to find 3 or 4 more naked lady bulbs that I can mix in with the group. And then we'll plant it in something else next year and see what kind of fun surprises it comes up with. But I do think that it's time to retire this poor little basket. I absolutely love it when the garden can surprise me. That's my absolute favorite. So I hope that you're inspired to just plant something that you're not sure what they are or where they came from, and you just plant them. Do make sure that you don't plant like invasive things or something like that. But part of my garden journey is, you know, I really want to write down every single thing that I plant, and then I don't, and then I forget what I plant, and then I get surprised. Of course, now that I do YouTube, it does help me sort of, I can go back and look and see what was it that I planted, but it doesn't always work out that way, because I do plant some things not on video, or move things not on video and forget what I've done. I think that has a little bit to do with being overly busy and not present, and a little bit of menopause. Or just like amnesia, life amnesia. Anyway, I hope that you are celebrating your life, no matter what kind of surprises you have in store for you. And I will see you in the next video.